Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Yellowstone Season 2 Episode 7 Recap. The Becks escalation, the attack on Beth, and more. Yellowstone Season 2, Episode 7, Resurrection Day reveals just how far the Beck brothers are willing to go to claim the Yellowstone Ranch, and the gauntlet is thrown down in an explosively violent episode. Season 2 of Yellowstone sees a new major antagonist for John Dutton, Kevin Costner, and his family to go up against in the form of the Beck brothers, two of the greatest villains to ever appear on a Taylor Sheridan show. All season, Malcolm, Neil McDonough, and Teal, Terry Serpico, Beck have been making increasingly sinister overtures to the Duttons. They'd even made an effort to turn Thomas Rainwater, Gil Birmingham, to their side in the previous episode, Blood the Boy. In that same episode, Jamie, Wes Bentley, got himself into trouble by speaking to a reporter, telling her the worst secrets of his family. When she threatens to expose them, Jamie brutally kills her and hides the body, bringing the rest of the ranch into his crime. Season 2, Episode 7, Resurrection Day sees Jamie contending with his actions and Beth, Kelly Rayleigh, suffering the consequences of the heightened war between the Duttons and the Becks. In the beginning of Resurrection Day, Malcolm comes to Beth's office, and the pair verbally spar, making overt threats to one another in attempts to intimidate the other party. Beth gets the better of the exchange, so much so that an angry Malcolm hints he'll end her tough talk. His attempt to do so occurs toward the end of the episode, in one of the darkest moments in Yellowstone. Two masked men arrive at Beth's office, where she and Jason, David Cleveland Brown, are working late. They violently attack Beth and Jason, quickly knocking Jason out, but Beth manages to stab one of the assailants with a letter opener before she too is incapacitated. Beth and Jason wake up to find themselves tied up. The man Beth stabbed is bleeding out, but the other has a gun pointed at Jason. He tells Beth they were sent to scare her. When Beth tells him, "Good luck," the man pulls the trigger and kills Jason right in front of her. He threatens to do the same to Beth. When that still elicits no fear, he prepares to sexually assault her. However, just before she was tied up, Beth managed to send a text to Rip Cole-Hauser, who suddenly arrives. Earlier in the episode, Rip and Beth had a pseudo-date on the roof of the barn, drinking whiskey and looking at the stars. Rip tried to tell Beth he loved her, but she stopped him. Now he rushes in, shrugs off a bullet, and puts the standing masked man down where Beth finishes him off with a heavy crystal statue to the face. The man bleeding out from his letter opener wounds is shot dead. Rip grabs Beth and tells her he does love her as she falls into his arms crying. After John and Case, Luke Grimes, take Rip to a doctor, Case retaliates off-screen. The next morning, Malcolm wakes up and walks to his window drinking coffee. When he opens his blinds, he's shocked to see the two masked men hung up outside his home, covered in blood, and with a note attached to them that says, "Return to sender." After the events of the previous episode, Jamie is beside himself, struggling to reckon with the fact he killed the reporter. Though Beth and Jamie have never gotten along, her words to him are particularly cruel, and she suggests he take his own life. When John notices a gun missing from the armory, he already knows what's happening and races to find Jamie. He does find his son, cradling a rifle, and John slowly approaches him. Never the most loquacious or sympathetic, John does manage to get through to Jamie, telling him they will work on the new Jamie together. When John later tells Beth what happened, Beth remains callous, telling John that Jamie will be the death of their family. John disagrees and reaffirms his love for all his children. Jamie, at Rip's suggestion, moves into the bunkhouse and begins learning how to be one of the cowboys. He learns quickly and in a decidedly un-Jamie-like action, folds a winning hand of cards while playing poker, understanding the animosity he'd earn isn't worth the victory. In a much lighter storyline in Yellowstone Season 2, Episode 7, Tate, Brecken Merrill, after spending the day with Rip, tells John and Case he's going to be a cowboy when he grows up. He begs his grandfather to let him get a horse, saying he'll take care of it and do whatever it takes to show he's responsible. John promises he'll pay for it if Tate's father, Case, agrees to let him have it, a taller order. Case finally relents after Tate makes a detailed checklist of things he needs to do. However, the stipulation is that Case takes care of the horse on weekdays, while Tate stays with Monica, but Tate can see him on weekends. Upset, Tate loudly wishes he could stay at the ranch full-time, which Case quickly puts a stop to, concerned that talk will upset Monica. After things work out with Monica, John and Case make good on their promise and buy Tate a horse, which he names Lucky, and all agree it's a good name. After spending most of season 2 apart, only coming together for some tense moments, Case and Monica finally get back together. When Tate begins saying he wants to stay at Yellowstone, Case is surprised to learn that Monica doesn't mind because she's decided that she can't live without Case, and the two embrace, finally reunited. It's another example of why Monica and Case have the best relationship in Yellowstone, and Tate's horror at watching his parents kiss only makes the scene sweeter. When the family returns to Yellowstone, John insists Monica and Case take the master bedroom, and he almost seems happy to give it up to the couple. After the events of the previous episode between the Becks and Rainwater, something was bound to happen to drive a wedge between the men. Rainwater is called by the reservation police to the scene of a murder. There, they find a man involved with Rainwater's casino has been gruesomely murdered. The Beck brothers' war against the Dutton family escalates in Yellowstone Season 2, Episode 7, Resurrection Day, with high-stakes drama and ruthless tactics that leave Beth Dutton in a life-threatening position and expose more of the violent underworld surrounding the Duttons' empire. The episode heightens the tension between power, family loyalty, and betrayal, serving as a pivotal moment in the feud that's threatening to destroy the Duttons from within and without. As the episode opens, we are thrust back into the mounting conflict between the Duttons and the Beck brothers, Malcolm and Teal. The Becks, whose greed and hunger for control over land and power have made them formidable enemies, continue to make calculated moves against John Dutton and his family. Throughout Season 2, they have been an ever-present threat, using manipulation, coercion, and violence to push the Duttons to the brink. Episode 7 marks a turning point as their actions become more brutal and direct, culminating in a shocking and life-altering attack on Beth Dutton, a character who has already proved she is not easily broken. The Becks' manipulative schemes continue to reach new heights as they pressure the Duttons with a combination of threats and strategic alliances. Teal Beck, particularly, has taken to making increasingly bold moves, testing the limits of the Dutton family's resolve. The Becks' growing influence is illustrated in how they begin to chip away at the Duttons' resources and allies, attempting to divide the family from within. Beth Dutton, however, is no passive player in this deadly game. Her role as the family's toughest, sharpest, and most calculating member continues to stand out, as she refuses to back down in the face of these escalating threats. After all, she has endured many challenges throughout the series, but this episode reveals just how far the Becks are willing to go to achieve their goals, and just how much they are willing to sacrifice in their pursuit of power. Beth finds herself in the crosshairs in this episode. In a gut-wrenching turn of events, she is targeted in a brutal attack that shocks both the character and the audience. The attack on Beth is brutal, cold, and personal. The Becks men, under Teal Beck's orders, corner her in an isolated place, and what follows is nothing short of horrifying. The attack serves as a warning to the Duttons, proving that no one in the family is safe from the Becks' twisted desire for control. Beth's sharp wit and fierce determination are no match for the merciless violence inflicted upon her, leaving her to fight for her life in a scene that will have long-lasting repercussions for the Dutton family.